Hello everyone, my name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute. Thanks for joining me for Preston's Ponderings. Well, we're going to continue our study of Matthew 16:27 and 28, where Jesus said, "The Son of Man will come in the glory of the Father with his angels, and shall reward every man according to his works. And verily I say unto you, there are some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." Well, many attempts are made to avoid the obvious, plain, literal meaning of this passage. Jesus said he was going to come in the lifetime of that generation. He was going to come in judgment and the kingdom. But of course, futurist paradigms say, well, he hasn't come, therefore we cannot allow the time statement to stand. So Jesus didn't really mean that he was going to come in judgment and the kingdom before all of that audience died. Now, one of the most popular attempts to avoid the force of Jesus' words in Matthew 16:27 and 28 is to say this: yes, Jesus said, there are some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. But now look what happened. Just a few days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John up on the mount, and there he was transfigured before them. They saw a vision of his coming in the kingdom. Therefore, his prediction in Matthew 16:28 was fulfilled. Is this really a tenable, that is, a defensible position? Is it contextual? Does it actually work? Well, let's look at a few very quick points. Point number one, remember that you cannot divide Matthew 16:27 from verse 28. Grammatically, it cannot be divided. We have demonstrated that in an earlier program by demonstrating that verse 28 begins with the little Greek term amin lego humin. That little term never introduces a new subject. It never breaks a discussion. It is always said to call the listener or the reader's attention to what is about to be said that will emphasize what has just been said. Did you catch that? That means that verse 28 is emphasizing verse 27. Verse 27 said Jesus was coming with his angels and in judgment and in reward, and verse 28 emphasizes when that would happen. Now ask yourself the question: was the Transfiguration the time of Jesus' coming in judgment? Somebody says, no, it was a vision. Okay, let's ask this question. Did Jesus say, there are some standing here that shall not taste of death until they see a vision of me coming in the kingdom? Now look, that was clearly a vision on the mountain, according to Matthew chapter 17, verses 9 to 13. Because as they came down from the mountain, the disciples were talking about Elijah and everything that they had seen. And Jesus said, tell no one the vision. Okay, so yes, it's a vision. Doesn't mean it wasn't real. I'm not suggesting that. But here's the point. Was Jesus saying, there are some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see a vision of my coming? Now, since he calls it a vision in Matthew 17, referring back to it, he could have said, and I would suggest to you, he should have said that if he had the vision in mind, he should have said, there are some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see a vision of my coming in the kingdom. He did not do that. Furthermore, remember, in verse 27 of chapter 16, Jesus said, the Son of Man will come. He didn't say, you're going to see a vision of my coming. The Son of Man will come in the glory of the Father with his angels and shall reward. He did not say that you'll see a vision of my rewarding of every man. He said he shall come and reward every man. And verily I say unto you, some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Take a look at the fact that Jesus said there are some standing here. Now, the normal use of language very clearly would indicate that some as opposed to all, some as opposed to most. Now think about this. According to Mark chapter 8, the lead-in to this story, Mark tells us that there was a great multitude present. A bunch of people were there. Are we supposed to believe that Jesus said to this really, really large audience, some of you, not most of you, not the majority of you, but a few of you will live 6 more days? Now, folks, that's not logical. Now, by the way, Jesus was not saying, and the text does not allow us to read it, to say, there are going to be some people see my coming and judgment. No, there are some standing here. Jesus' use of some, a particularizing out of the majority, a limiting of a few out of the majority, indicates, by reason, by logic, that the majority of that audience would not live to see him coming in judgment, but a few, some, would live. Now, folks, it's only 6 days until the Transfiguration. By far, the majority of the audience is still alive. Therefore, Jesus' words, there are some standing here, and let me say this again. We cannot change, alter, and pervert, and that's what it would be. We cannot pervert Jesus' words into saying, there will be some people alive when I come. No, that's not what it says. Jesus did not say that there will be a time in which people will be alive to see my coming. This is not what the words say. There are some standing here. Right, that was right then, right there, 2,000 years ago. There are some standing here that will not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in His kingdom. There is nothing about Jesus' language, there is nothing about the text or the context that indicates that the Transfiguration was in fact the fulfillment of the prediction of Matthew 16, 27 and 28. That does not say that it was not a visionary confirmation of the prediction. It is simply to say the Transfiguration was not the fulfillment of Matthew 16, 27 and 28. In the next section, I'll notice a couple of other reasons why Matthew 17 and the story of the Transfiguration cannot be considered the fulfillment of Matthew 16, 27 and 28. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining me for Preston's Ponderings. We'll see you on the flip side.